Hello, welcome to Uganda and electricity. Today we are going to talk about a kilowatt hour, kilowatts, watts, and a joule. Watts to kilowatts conversion, calculations of kilowatt hour, and calculations of monthly energy invoice. You always notice when your electricity bills show you have been charged for an amount of kilowatt hour which you use. And when you buy electricity goods, they are rated in watts or kilowatts. What do I mean? You always see a W and a kW. Your electricity bill is rated in kWh, which means kilowatt hours. This is how much power was demanded over an amount of time. Power multiplied by time is equal to energy. What is kilowatt? Then we'll come back at kilowatt hours and some calculation, and then we'll make things easier. On electrical products you purchase, you will see a value stated in W or kW, meaning watts or kilowatts. This is the power demand of the product. It tells us how much energy per second this will demand in order to work. You can see the bulb rated in 60 watts and fan heater rated in 2 kilowatts. So kilowatt is equal to kilo and watts. Kilo is in 1,000. Watts is a unit of power, named of engineer called James Watt. To be precise, 1 watt is equal to 1 joule per second. 1 kilowatt is equal to 1,000 joules per second. A kilowatt hour is equal to 3.6 megajoules. How do we come about the 3.6 megajoules? You get to see that 1,000 joules per second times 3,600 seconds per hour is equal to 3.6 megajoules per second. Joule. A joule is an amount of energy transferred to do some work. For example, our food contains energy rated in joules or calories. You get to see that on nutritional facts. Some are either named joules or calories. We consume this heat, the heat in terms of calories, and we power our bodies. What is a joule regarding electricity? This is the energy dissipated as heat when electric current of 1 amp passes through a resistance of 1 ohm in 1 second. Kilowatt hour. You can convert kilowatts to watts simply by multiplying by 1,000. So 1 kilowatt multiplied by 1,000 is equal to 1,000 watts. Kilowatt times 1,000 is equal to watts. 1 kilowatt times 1,000 is equal to 1,000 watts. You can also convert watts to kilowatts simply by dividing. What is a kilowatt hour? To work out how much electricity will be used by the heater, we need to know how much power it will demand and how long it will be switched on for. Now we see a heater is rated 2 kW, which means 2 kilowatts. If you don't know the power rating of an item, you can buy one of the plug-in monitors which can tell you the volts, amps, the watts, and the kilowatt hour. It's so cheap and easy. So back on the heater. So we want to know how much kilowatt hour this will use. We know we can use the energy formula, which is energy is equal to power times time. We also know power here is rated at 2 kilowatts of the heater, and let's say it will run for 3 hours. So here we are going to calculate the kilowatt hour. So here we know that energy is equal to power times time. The power is 2 kilowatts and the time here we have set it for 3 hours. So here we say 2 kilowatt times 3 hours is equal to 6 kilowatt hours. But what if heat only runs for 30 seconds? What would you do? We can still use the energy formula, but because here we are involved in kilowatt hours, we need to convert seconds into hours. So 60 minutes in an hour and 60 seconds per minute. So we can now say 60 times 60 is equal to 3,600 seconds per hour. And we can now convert 30-second runtime into hours. 30 seconds per hour divided by 3,600 seconds per hour. It will give us 0.0083 hours, isn't it? Yes, when you calculate 30 seconds per hour divided by 3,600 seconds per hour is equal to 0.0083 hours. So it means it will be running for 0.0083 hours. So multiplying 2 kilowatts by 0.0083 hours, it's equal to 0.00167 kilowatt hour. How about small items like bulbs rated in watts? So let's say we have a bulb rated at 60 watt. Let's say it has a runtime of 10 hours. Here we are considering like a security light bulb. So energy, we know, is power times time. And we need to convert the watts to kilowatts and as invoiced in kilowatt hour. So the 60 watts divided by 1,000, as we had said earlier, that you can convert watts to kilowatts by simply dividing. So here we are converting 60 watts to kilowatts. So we say 60 watts divided by 1,000, it will give us 0.06 kilowatt. And 0.06 kilowatt times 10 is equal to 0.6 kilowatt hour. If you want to calculate the costs, so we simply multiply the kilowatt hour consumption by the electricity tariff set by our electricity regulatory authority or provider per kilowatt. If we look at the heater, which is 2 kilowatts, and it runs for 3 hours, then 2 kilowatts times 3 hours is equal to 6 kilowatt hour. If our electricity provider sells us electricity, let's say at 10 shillings here in Uganda per kilowatt hour, so 6 kilowatt hour times the 10 shillings per kilowatt hour. Here the 6 kilowatt hour is the kilowatt hour used, and the 10 shillings is the tariff per kilowatt hour. So the cost will be 6 times 10, which will give us 60 shillings. On concluding about calculating electricity consumption for our month, you need to organize the item used in the building and note down their power. Then we need to calculate how many hours per month that will be switched on each. Then we can calculate the electricity consumption for each item using the energy equals to power times time formula. Don't forget, there will be likely other costs on supplier's invoice, things like tax, etc. Okay, this is it. I hope this video you've liked it and it has helped you. Don't forget to share, subscribe and like. Any question, leave them in the comment section. Thank you. From now on, we are going to be covering major components in electricity. What is electricity?